16th of April, 1991. Dear Diary, you wouldn't believe what has happened today. The problem with my leg turned out worse than expected. I have cancer. Dr. Latham told me I have to go to Birmingham. I'm not sure why, but I'm very scared.
Gillian Corner and some of her friends wrote to us asking to make a film about their battle against cancer. They wanted others to know what it's like to be a teenager with the illness. This is not a depressing film, but one of hope and courage, taken from the pages of Gillian's diary. Gillian, Christine and David are all teenagers living in Corby in Northamptonshire. They go to the same school and are tied by a special bond. For the past 2 years, they've shared their innermost secrets. Instead of turning to family or other friends, they've helped each other through some of the worst moments of their lives.
The reason we wrote mainly is because we know what it was like as teenagers going through it. And we wanted to show other people that are just like, that may be diagnosed if they're teenagers, that it's not the end of the world. It does carry on afterwards. It changes you a bit, but I'd say it was for the better.
I didn't know anyone with cancer, and I didn't know anyone, so it just like hit me as a big shock that I'm the only one in the world.
I didn't understand what cancer was. I just thought it was, you go bald and you die. If you see cancer like on the telly, they use it to get rid of people and things. And you never see anyone recover from cancer. They never show that.
People say, well, you shouldn't really make friends with these people because you might lose them. That's one of the reasons why we started this film, to show people don't just die. Some people get better.
Gillian is 15. As a 12-year-old, she loved sports. When she started getting pains in her leg, she was told it was a sports injury. Eventually, bone cancer was diagnosed. She's since had the bone in her leg removed and replaced with a metal pin. Her life was turned upside down.
I used to play football, and I really do enjoy sport. I just do. And then, the doctor said I'd never be able to play contact sports and things like that. And I thought, God, why me? What have I done? I don't know what to do to deserve it. I want to do it so much, and I can't. So it does upset you, but you just got to do things that you can do. You do grow up a lot quicker, and you've got a lot more worries. Me with my leg, if I get a sore throat or a spot or anything that's got pus in it or anything, I've got to always think, I've got to have antibiotics all the time. And a normal teenager doesn't have to worry about things like that. They just get on with life, but you have to think about a lot of things. You do grow up a lot quicker.
Go on, and again.
David Mackay's family are suffering a double tragedy. 4 years ago, their eldest daughter Jane died from cancer. Now their 16-year-old son David has leukemia. If coping with the illness weren't enough, they have to make a round trip of more than 100 miles from Corby to Leicester to their nearest leukemia clinic.
I'd been really tired, beforehand, and pale and lethargic. And my mum, she was a bit worried, so she said to the doctor, can we give him a blood test? And I went and got this blood test. And the same night, the doctor came to the door and knocked on the door. My mum was frightened. She didn't want to answer it at first, but when she did, he came in and he said, I've got some bad news for you, and told her that I had leukemia and I'd have to go into the hospital. I had a couple of friends that came in and visited me, when I had no hair and looked ill, and I think they were frightened because they never came to visit again. I think they were really frightened. I don't know why. I think they thought I was going to die or something, but I'm as tough as old boots.
Christine Plant is 14. While getting ready to go out with friends on a Saturday afternoon, she found some lumps on the side of her neck. After visiting the doctor, she was diagnosed as having Hodgkin's disease. The next 2 years became a round of hospital visits with Mum and Dad instead of shopping trips with friends.
When I went down with it, my dad took it bad because I was the only child and I was his little girl, and so my mum helped a lot because she tried not to cry near me, and my dad never cried in front of me, but it was like he was so emotionally tied up, like a big knot, but my mum helped a lot, so together they got on quite well. I think I miss my teenage years because all my friends were going out with other boyfriends and girlfriends and deciding what colour they were going to paint their nails. I had to worry about whether I'm going to live, whether I'm going to die, so I think I missed out on that.
Friday night. Mum's cooking egg and chips. It's cruel. I'd love some. I've not had anything solid to eat for about 4 weeks now. My mouth also has hurt so much. My tongue is red raw, and I'm fed up with sloppy food and ice cream. I wonder why the chemo does this.
Chemotherapy is just the word we use to describe all the different kinds of drugs that are available for treating cancer. Now, most of those drugs actually have to be given by injection, but some can be given in tablet form. They often need to have injections and have the drips put up, and that can cause quite a lot of difficulties, as perhaps you know. Most people who have chemotherapy lose their hair, but not all. And the reason for that is that cancer drugs will also have some effect on the normal tissues in the body. And they tend to work particularly against the tissues that are working hard. So, for example, the little cells that make our hair to grow are cells which can be easily damaged by the cancer drugs.
What is cancer?
Well, Christine, cancer happens when cells in the body start to grow out of control, because we need the cells in our body to be working from time to time to repair the damage and the wear and tear we inflict on our body. But sometimes what happens is that regrowth of cells just happens in an uncontrollable way, and you get a cancer, essentially.
Is it easy to cure?
Cancer can be easy to cure, but sometimes there are diseases which we treat which are much more difficult to cure. But one of the things that I think is very important for young people like you to understand is that cancer in children and teenagers is very often much easier to cure than the kind of cancers that we see in grown-ups.
Is it contagious?
No, cancer isn't contagious. You can't catch cancer from being with people with cancer, but it's interesting how many people are frightened of that.
I wonder why none of my friends have been to see me. I've not been out of the house for months and months. Sometimes I feel really lonely.
Where have you got to? What are you doing? Where's your result?
Christine and Gillian certainly feel that people avoid them. They worry that they're going to catch it by touching them or talking to them. And one of the things we tried to do, for example, when we were raising money on a Mufti day, I wore their clothes. You know, several staff wore school uniforms, so I wore their clothes, which in a way was meant to reassure them that, you know, you can't catch anything if people have got cancer.
A lot of things happened to Gillian, like she met a lot of famous people, Kenny Dalglish, Aidan Gillett, and she had a free trip to Disneyland, and some of her students have become quite jealous of all the publicity that she was getting. Quite often she was in the local paper. But Gillian actually asked if an assembly could be done where what she'd been through was talked about, and she brought in this metal plate that had been put into her leg. And at that point, a lot of the students suddenly realised some of the problems Gillian was experiencing, the losing of her hair, and the fact that she couldn't walk properly at first.
To a very major extent.
Why is it that you never come down to see me when I was ill?
I think I was scared, basically, of what you'd look like and whether I could catch it as well.
Still scared about it then?
Yeah. When I was told, I was quite upset because I used to hang around when we got on great, and I just thought that it did mean death and that you were going to die and that I wasn't going to see you again, and I was just really upset for you.
We didn't really know how to speak to her, did we, either? We didn't know what to say to her or anything.
You got goose pimples.
What did you think when, when I first came into school? Could you talk to me, or did you feel, that you didn't know what to say to me?
I wanted to speak to you, but I thought I'd probably say the wrong thing and upset you. And in a way.
Yeah.
You're scared of
That's
saying
what I
anything?
have.
was
That's
just
what I thought.
Worried
thought-
in case what I said.
stepping on eggshells or something,
Yeah,
you
he's
know.
too scared to make a joke about
it
having
or something in case you took it the
bald
wrong way or, you know.
Gillian went with Christine and David to see celebrity Roy Castle. He had 2 important interviews that day, one with ITV's Richard and Judy, and the other with the country's newest interviewers.
You look great at the moment, you really do.
Well, you know what it's like, don't you, when people come to you and and I've been meeting a lot of people today, so that the adrenaline is pumping me up and and you have to put on a good show. But you also know that the times when you go home and you're all by yourself and your mind starts to make you worry, doesn't it? You think, oh dear, what's going to happen to me? And when you're on your own, you think, gosh, this is terrible. So you need other people around you to jolly you along and get on with life, really, rather than start waiting for it all to go wrong, because there's a strong chance that it'll all go right, isn't there? So it's best to look at that one. Let's look at the what's going to go right situation.
I just want to say, on behalf of all of us, we're all behind you and just keep going and keep smiling.
Well, the same to you. You know, that's what you have to do. Yeah. Look forward to the good times and battle on. Don't give in. Okay? It's lovely to talk to you.
And you.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
For many ordinary families, dealing with cancer is traumatic. Gillian's illness brought her already close family even closer. Each of them was affected in a different way, but for her mum and dad, life will never be the same again.
She used to leave little letters around for us during the day to say she was sorry for having us up in the night and that her leg had been really sore and her leg was really hurting now. And break your heart crying when you read them.
We kept this particular letter because it was, in fact, the last one she ever wrote before we took her to the hospital. And it says, "Dear Mum, love you. My leg is still hurting a bit. I will tell Mrs. Coleman about it and say, if you want to, you can ring my mum. But she won't. I love you. Sorry for keeping you up all night. My leg is killing me. See you at dinner time. Lots and lots and lots of love, Gillian." But,
I think the thing I'll always remember is when she asked, when her hair started to fall out, and she asked me to cut it all off because she couldn't stand it coming out anymore. So she sat in the kitchen on a chair and she had a mirror in front of her watching me cut it all off, and I had tears coming down my face. She says, "You're not doing it if you're going to start crying," so I had to stand there and well, I cut it all off. That's the thing I'll remember most.
The one thing I think sticks in my mind is they said, "Treat her normal." But what's normal? And then you think, how can I ever let her go out of my sight ever again without wrapping her like this? And you couldn't do that with Gillian because she's not that type of child. Wanting to keep her with us all the time, but the knot in your stomach is always there. And it's gradually, hopefully, going a little bit now. But you just take each day as it comes, and that's what we do now. And whatever, you know, it will happen. And hopefully Gillian's cured and she can go on and lead a really, you know, good life now.
When I was 15, I was getting ready, sort of starting to get interested in boys and normal, you know, teenage things. And Gillian gets dressed up to go out and do charity tombolas and things. Just like her to live a normal life now. Obviously, she wants to do a lot for charity because it saved her life as well. But I'd like her to be normal.
After weeks of preparation, Gillian, Christine and David are putting the final touches to the prizes and tickets for the monthly charity event at their local Asda store. The 3 friends are trying to help others in a similar situation to themselves. It's been another successful day. They've raised about £300. So far, they've collected around £2,000 towards the building of a local hospice.
Claire from the hospital told me about a boy she's just met from Leicester called Ben, who's 17. She said we've got a lot in common. He's got the same cancer as me and he loves football as well. He sounds ever so brave. He's gone for a different sort of operation to me though.
Let me tell you about the knee mechanisms, because if you understand them, I think it makes you walk better. Now then,
in September, I'd been playing football and broke my leg by having a football kicked at it. The bone had been so weakened by the cancer that it just broke really easily. So I went via casualty, and they were a bit concerned. I told them that I had a sporting injury, which is what I thought I had originally, because before I broke my leg I had dull aching pain, and some x-rays had shown a stress fracture. So I thought it was nothing more than that, but they were a bit concerned because there were 2 lumps. So they did some tests, all sorts of tests, and then they diagnosed with bone cancer.
That's good, you've got your foot right in the middle of the step.
Right. A week before the surgery came up, the surgeon had looked at my x-rays and my scans. He said that there was a distinct possibility that they'd be able to remove the tumour without actually me having to lose the leg. This would mean a metal shaft. But they gave me a week to think about it. So I went away and talked to people at school, my friends, my teachers, my family. And in the end I decided that because I wanted to be more active afterwards, an artificial limb would give me more freedom to be active. So I opted for the amputation anyway. I'd definitely be able to play sports such as golf, squash. I've got a friend with an artificial limb. I've only met since my cancer, and he's bought me a squash racket and he's challenged me to a game of squash. So, but hopefully I'll be able to have a game of football again sometime.
I'm going back to my hospital tomorrow. I promised to go to see a girl called Carolyn Larkin. I haven't met her yet, but she's having the same operation I had, and the doctors think I could go to talk to her because I know how she must be feeling. Carolyn. Yeah. I'm Gillian. I heard you're having the same operation as me tomorrow. Can I ask you any questions?
Were you scared going into the operation?
Everyone's scared, you know, when you go for an operation. So I suppose I was quite happy because I was going to be getting rid of the cancer and things like that.
What was it like, the operation?
It was alright. It was really painful after it. But once you start doing the exercises that physio gives you, then it does get better. And if it showed you what you're going to have in your leg.
Yeah. They're taking part of my tibia out and putting in the freezer.
Just a lower part of your leg.
Yeah.
It's heavy, doesn't it?
Does it feel heavy when it's actually put in your leg?
It doesn't feel any different. It doesn't feel at all different, really. It feels exactly the same as the other leg. Are you scared?
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to it because I'm having it videoed. The sooner I can get out of the theatre, the better.
Yeah, so you can watch it.
Yeah.
Teenage cancer is rare. Only 1 in 750 children get cancer compared to 1 in 3 adults. Most of these children pull through, but sadly about a third die. These specialists in children's cancer meet once a year to compare notes and discuss any new trials. We arranged for Christine to meet an expert in her type of cancer.
Was there any mention of Hodgkin's in the actual meeting?
Yes, there was, because there's a lot of discussion in Hodgkin's disease about the type of treatment we should be giving, because we know we can cure, as I say, 90% of the children. And one of the sessions going on now is discussing what we call late effects. So in Hodgkin's at the moment, the chemotherapy you had initially was designed to be well tolerated, to have a very high cure rate. It doesn't sterilize girls, but it does sterilize boys. So there are other regimens, other treatment programs we can give which don't sterilize boys. And although there aren't that many new drugs in Hodgkin's disease, there are new ways of using those drugs which may have less in the way of the sort of long-term side effects I talked about.
I'm really excited. One of the charities is taking everyone from the Leciester Royal Infirmary bowling tomorrow. I can't wait to see Lee and Donna and the others. We all have such a lot in common, but some of the things they say amaze me.
When I look at people in the street and whatever, think, well, you're fine, you should be happy, really. And here I am with cancer and I'm happy. So I think they don't know how lucky they are, really.
I've actually never had nightmares about me being in hospital. I've actually had dreams about what I'm going to do in the future. The doctors have told me that I can't have children, so I've got nothing to look forward to there. But I've got quite a craze on horses, and I've got a horse of my own, and I dream of galloping around fields and the freedom that I've got. But I've never had nightmares of me being in hospital. Never.
I was thinking the other day that even if I had the chance to change what had happened and have not had cancer, I don't think I would, because it was a part of me now, and you know, perhaps it was meant to happen.
I wouldn't like to change it either, because it's made me a better person. And and people say, oh, why did it have to happen to me? But why shouldn't it happen to you? Because you're nobody special.
For all the friends which I've made and all the friends which I've lost through hospital, I've got to make something of myself, and to make sure more people are aware of the meaning of the word cancer and the meaning of the word leukemia, so it doesn't strike fear into people, and more people would like to help and to understand what a person is going through.
If you've just been diagnosed with cancer, you know, cancer is only a word, and you know, you just gotta, I mean, look at us, I mean, we're, you know, healthy and, you know, doing well, so just, and to people, friends as well, I think friends should go down and see them as well. If you just found out that someone's got cancer, you know, don't be afraid, because you'll be alright. Just be positive.
If somebody's going to help you, don't get them to hold on to you, just they want to be below you, so you've got something soft to land on.
Ben has had his last course of chemotherapy and is now a step nearer to playing his first game of football. These are Carolyn's first steps after her 3-hour operation. She's now back home in Bolton, showing all her friends the video. After 2 long years, David has made his last weekly trip to Leicester for his leukemia treatment and has been given the all clear. He's now concentrating hard on his A-levels.
If, like, friends of people who are diagnosed, I'd say, don't just say, oh, I'll go and see them tomorrow. Go and see them when you can see them, not like in the next week or anything. Because they're still people, even though they are on treatment or got cancer. They're still people with feelings.
Christine is beginning to pick up the threads of her social life and is looking forward to the day when she can brush her long red hair again.
If you've got cancer, don't let it get you down. You've got to try and live. There's life after cancer. It's not all cancer for the rest of your life. You've got to try and live what life you've got.
It's 371 days since they told me I had cancer. I've spent 92 days in hospital and gone through 15 sessions of chemo. I went for a checkup today and the doctor's given me the all clear. I can't believe it. Yes.